Next order of business. So now we come to the point where you're talking about monogamy as far as evolution goes, as far as the need to spread our seed to as many hosts as possible, and how that's the natural way that we want to go, and how we should not force monogamy or sexual monogamy rather on people, because that's just telling them to feel horrible about what comes naturally. And while I will say yes, you know, people want to have sex with more people than they do have sex with. From an evolutionary standpoint, now I'm not an evolutionist. You can probably have a refutation for this, but from my standpoint right now, from an evolutionary standpoint, as far as where we are now as a civilization and the human race and whatnot, and even in earlier stages of history, if everybody had sex with everyone that had mutual lusting for each other, could you not see that horrible chaos that would result? I mean, what if you impregnated every girl that you thought was smoking hot, to use layman's terms? I mean, what would you would have 8 different children from 8 different mothers? The whole order of marriage, is that not beneficial? Is monogamy not beneficial? I mean, and there are isolated incidences of monogamy within the animal kingdom, the penguins, for example. But I don't understand how one can say that to feel bad about sleeping around is something that we shouldn't have to worry about, because it's definitely something we should have to worry about. It has natural consequences in the natural world if we don't practice monogamy. Another analogy, another thought exercise I'd like to hear your opinion on is the whole setup of the natural result of sex being pregnancy. Now, obviously, to the modern intellect, or obviously even to a primitive intellect, just because you want to have sex with someone, that doesn't mean you want to have a child with that person. But seeing as your desire for sex and your consummation of that sex has a 5% chance statistically of resulting in pregnancy, that is without protection, and with the consideration that in primitive times there was no scientific way to overcome the natural consequence of sex, which is pregnancy. I mean, what would that result in? The natural result of sex is pregnancy. So therefore, we have to take care of who we have sex with, and the way to survive, to ensure our survival as a species, just from a logical standpoint, is to practice monogamy, so that we stay with that one monogamous person in a sexual relationship, and we raise that child up together. There's 2 parents, you know, helping that child survive and to spread his seed to the next generation. So I didn't really grasp that whole argument about sexual desires, and your analogy of feeling guilty about the natural sexual desires that we have, and how Jesus says if you even lust after a woman, then you've already committed adultery, and you're already dirty, and you need forgiveness. I can understand where you're coming with that, but lusting to extent is not controllable, and I understand there's chemicals in the brains, but you can also consciously get behind the wheel of those thoughts as well, and purposefully and consciously entertain them to an extent where it is under your control. So you can accentuate the natural inclination to a greater extent, and it is by your own actions and by your own consciousness. So that's what I think Jesus is speaking of when he talks about lusting after a woman. It's a conscious effort to lust after a woman. It's not just going past a really beautiful woman and naturally, you know, feeling the hormones rage. I see that as something different. So in conclusion, I'd like to give you a reading. I'd really be interested in your response to this book, because it's not a very thick book, so I'm going to show it to you. I don't agree with every single point in this book, but it's generally a good read, and I think most points it's pretty straight on as to the way we should understand the gay passages of the Bible. It's called What the Bible Really Says About Homosexuality, and that's by Daniel A. Helminiak, PhD. That was a horrible pronunciation. I apologize. But that's the book right there, What the Bible Really Says About Homosexuality. I got this off the internet, so just type on your Google search or whatnot. But that's only about 140 pages or whatnot. It's but it's really informative to read. It's a perspective you've probably never seen before, and I'd like to see what you would think about that. Now, just to be fair, I don't expect you to read this, but in my reading of the 5 books and numerous articles, this I found to be the most exhaustive defense of anti-gay sentiments as homosexuality is a sin. And this is by a conservative Christian, which I mostly am, except for this one view. And most my conservative fellows don't like me for talking about this, but I feel convicted I need to, and I don't fear God because I feel like I am in the right. This is James B. DeYoung. It's called Homosexuality, Contemporary Claims, Examined in Light of the Bible and Other Ancient Literature and Law. And that's by James B. DeYoung. Homosexuality. And that is a thicker book, as you can see. But mainly, Roger, check this out. Check this out. Tell me what you think. It was nice talking to you, Roger. Let's set example to show the community how a Christian and an atheist can have a respectful conversation. Thanks for the video response, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.